to shock the world here.
I'm calling for an open tryout. If anyone is watching this, I'm calling for an open tryout. I got a year of eligibility left.
Might have some.
Anthony, where is home for you?
Home is Medland.
That's wrong.
All right, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just have to disagree.
While we were in class this morning, I was watching his mixtape, and this guy catches and shoots from anywhere.
Are you ready for some debate? Because Bobcat Breakdown starts right now.
Welcome to Bobcat Breakdown. I'm Ryan Raggio. Alongside me are Keenan Mills and Keith Savage. Fellas, how are we doing on this fine Tuesday evening?
It was a beautiful day outside. It's going to be a beautiful show. It's our last Bobcat Breakdown show. I am wicked pumped.
Yeah, I am enthusiastic for the show. It's going to be a great time. You and me, we haven't debated just yet. We've been on air together, but we have not debated, and I'm excited for today.
It's going to be special.
Good deal. Let's have some fun. Over the weekend, we saw a lot of wins from the Bobcats, as well as 9 games across campus. Here's the recap from QBSN. On Saturday, Acrobatics and Tumbling celebrated 13 seniors for their senior day and became the only team in program history to go undefeated. With 14 members of the team listed as a graduate student or senior, Keith, how impactful have they been for the team this season?
Ryan Keaton, they have been massive for this team. Their first season, most of them didn't even play not a single match. But overall, each year they improved. They went from 6-3, 6-2. Now they're currently undefeated. It's just mainly beating that one team, which is Baylor, they lost in the last 2 years. But the impact has been clear, and they weren't one of the top teams in the country, but now they are. So that's how important they've been.
It's crazy. These seniors went over 700 days without competing in a match. That's absurd. I don't think I could go like 700 days without school. That would be ridiculous. And now they're going up there undefeated. This is probably one of the best teams that they've had in their program's history, and they just got those bad Baylor Bears up there at number 1. And I think that would be the best send-off for this group of seniors to knock down that number 1.
Yeah, it's just the perfect opportunity for them to get a big-time play. But overall, it's just that impact is going to have a lasting one because overall, they didn't see much success before them coming in. Of course, it was a pretty solid program to start, but as the NCATA is growing, Quinnipiac is starting to become a powerhouse.
As Ryan mentioned, there's 13 seniors, 14 including the one grad student. I went on Go Bobcats today and I counted every roster. I counted 39. I don't know how good my math was, but it's crazy to have. That's a third of the team to have 13 seniors and the one grad student. 14 out of 39. That's over a third of it. So that's a huge group. That's very important for them to be united as a family, and it's a pivotal role for those seniors to have that family parental role for them to keep the team together, Keith.
It's an amazing point. Family is everything, I will say. But now, fellow Long Islander and men's basketball player Savion Lewis recently announced to his Instagram that he was granted an extra year of eligibility from the NCAA due to injuries in past seasons. This was followed up by the guard saying he hasn't entered the transfer portal. However, he said he's still open to returning to Quinnipiac. Now, with this information, Keenan, what do you think is next for Savion Lewis?
I I think he's going to be a Richmond Spider. Can you just
Wow.
imagine? Yeah, I think he can make that upward move to the A10. He's certainly not good enough to go Power 5. Never in his dreams could he go Power 5. But A10, I think, is around there. Maybe a Richmond, maybe a UMass. I don't know if he would get a ton of minutes there because he's a seasoned vet. He's been here forever. He has all those assists, as you love to bring up all the time. You're the number one Savion Lewis assist guy. But also, you were talking about his turnovers. Towards the end of the season, or end of the games, when it got a little iffy, the defense got a little more locked in, those turnovers came up, and it was an issue for him.
Yeah, I also agree. I think he's going to go A10 also. I'm not sure exactly what team, but I think it's all going to come down to one thing. That money. That's a perfect thing.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Tom Pecora has said he's going to go a little old school style. He's not going to really give money to his players. You come here to play basketball. That's how he's going to go. Savion Lewis, he's been loyal to this team, and here since 2018. I think he's going to test the water to see if he can get some of that extra money somewhere and still be a starting point guard. But I don't see him going to a school where he's not the number one point guard on that roster. So I think he could return to Quinnipiac. But I think, like you said, A10 is where I think he's also. Richmond is still a pretty good team, but I don't think he can go to Richmond. But I think he can go to a team like, yeah, that is true.
It's
That
cool
is
mascot.
true. But UMass is also a team that I could see going because they're going to go for one last run in that conference.
Also, I feel like the statement that he made on Instagram, he kept it open to coming back to Quinnipiac.
Yeah.
Instead of saying the final goodbye, all right, see ya, Bobcat Nation, he was like, I'm also willing to come back, which makes me feel like nothing is confirmed. He doesn't absolutely know where he's going. So I feel like a return back in that blue and yellow, could be possible.
Yeah, it's also, too, him and Tom Pecora have a very good relationship with each other. They've known each other for so long, and that's the one big thing. Is also, nobody is in contest at this current moment that could be a starting point guard on Quinnipiac basketball. Doug Young is more of a sixth man, a shooting guard. He's not a starting point guard, and Savion Lewis still has that if he comes back.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, if you got that chemistry, why leave? But we're going to take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we are introducing a new segment called Transfer Talk. Stick with us.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Miss the action? We've got you. Every team, every game. In-depth coverage, all the access, and of course, all the action.
No doubt about it.
In isolation and goes backhand top shot.
Scoop layup with 3 seconds remaining. He hits the game winner.
Knock, knock, who's there? Nobody. Vinny Duplessis sends it right back.
This is Sports Pause, Monday nights at 9:30, only on Q30 Television.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown, and thanks for sticking with us. The transfer portal is the talk of the town. Here's our new segment, Transfer Talk. Now, I'm going to give Keith and Keenan 5 different Quinnipiac athletes, and they will decide whether or not they will transfer to another school or continue to don the blue and gold. Let's start with the men's basketball forward, Amari Tice. He recently announced that he will remain a Bobcat for next season. However, Keith, do you believe that he will stay with Quinnipiac for the rest of his collegiate career?
No, there is no way he's staying the rest of his career at Quinnipiac. He is too talented of a player to do exactly that. These conferences are going to turn into, you try out here, if you do good, you're going to move up. If you do bad, you're going to go to lower school. That's kind of how it turned out. And Amari Tice, he's made it clear he's staying, but for one more year, because his stock, with no Matt Belong, is going to rise so much. Overall, I think he's the best all-around player on the Quinnipiac team this year, where I think he could transfer to a Power 5 down the road. And I think this is the perfect chance. He's going to have 1 year. I think he's going to MAC Player of the Year next season. You got to wait and see exactly who's going to transfer to other schools, but Marty Tice has that talent, and he's going to stay one more year, then he's going to go to Power 5.
I completely agree with you. I think he could average like 20 to 25 points next year. He's going to lose Belanc's 18 points a game, and I haven't really seen him bring in any other scorers. Tice is going to eat next year. He's going to be able to kind of see the floor a lot bigger because he's not going to have to deal with Belanc shooting all the time. And he averaged like 13 points something this year. He's going to get buckets. He's going to get a Power 5 offer. It's all about, as you mentioned in A Block, with that it's all about that money. And I think he could go Big East. I think that's he wants to stay around this area. That's a big part of why he came to Quinnipiac, is because he wants to be a little bit closer to home from where he used to be. But I think I think there's no shot he stays here.
All right. Well, next up is women's basketball first-year guard Paige Girardi. She was the second on the team in games started with 23 and scored 112 points on the season. Kanan, what is next for Paige Girardi?
I think she really is gonna stay here. I think this young group for the women's basketball team could be so great if they just stuck around. But names like Anna Foley, names like Carson Martin, they're gone. Right? Anna Foley was disgusting this year. She could have set a ton of records. So I think if they stick around a little bit more, then they could win MAC championships. They could do some cool stuff in the NCAA tournament. But I don't think that Foley and Martin could stay around. But for Girardi, I think she could retire a Bobcat.
Yeah, I also agree exactly with that. I think this first-year group is going to become a huge impact group. And because of that, Girardi is going to be the player that sticks around the whole time because she's a talented player. But she's not going to be a superstar like a Foley or Martin that could be. But I think Girardi's always going to be that glue factor. Is always going to be a big-time factor on the squad. And she's going to become a superstar. Or actually, not a superstar, but one of the players that can assist one of the superstars. So I think she's going to stick here for her whole time. Kind of like how you saw with Mackenzie Deweese and other players. Of course, not as good as Deweese, but she's going to make a massive impact on the future of this team.
All right. Well, we covered the court, but fellas, let's hit the ice. First-year forward Kaylin LaMarche came to Hamden and quickly made an impact. On the season, she was second on the team in points with 34, potted 11 goals and had a plus-minus of 19, which was tied for second on the team. Keith, what's in store for the first-year standout?
Yeah, she is way too talented to finish her career at Quinnipiac. You see a lot of women's ice hockey players transfer out of it, at least at some point of their career. I think she's the perfect example of doing the same exact thing. I just could not see her playing a full, maybe 4 or 5 years as a grad student here at Quinnipiac.
I completely disagree with you, Keith.
Wow.
We see a lot of their team going into the portal. If Kaylin LaMarche sticks around, this could be her team.
Yeah.
Like, she had a huge impact, but maybe not one of the first names that really comes to mind when you think of this team, because she's only been here 1 year. If she's here for a couple more years and these other players keep on transferring in and out, this is Kaylin LaMarche's team. And it's not like this squad is a complete joke. This year they weren't as good as they have been, but this is still one of the best women's hockey programs in the country. And to be one of the faces of the squad, to stick around and kind of control the Hamden Ice, I think it's kind of a great move for her to stay.
I think her best move would be to stay, but I don't think she's going to that. She's talented enough to go to one of the better schools. Quinnipiac, again, is one of the best women's ice hockey teams, but they're not the best. They're not, I wouldn't even say a top 10 team consistently. So I think she's going to go into one of those schools where she can be potentially a national champion.
Oh yeah, if they're going to build a core or a team around her, I think it would be a good incentive for her to stay. But anyway, let's head down to the turf. Field hockey first-year defender Katie Shanahan started in all 17 games for the Bobcats and registered 2 assists in the season. Now, Keenan, what are your thoughts?
I think she's good to stay here at Quinnipiac. Keith, you might smoke me on this. You're a huge field hockey guy, but she grew up in Massachusetts. She's from Massachusetts, right here in Hamden. It's pretty close to where she is. She was a first-year defender. You mentioned that she started in all the games for the Bobcats. It's not like they gave up a crazy ton of goals. You've seen their environment. It looks pretty fun. If you throw any other team in that Big East environment, any other team here on campus, they're getting smoked. And I stole that point from you, but I made it to you. That's my point now. Any other team here in the Big East, they are getting smoked. In the field hockey, they competed this year.
That's the exact thing. Katie Shanahan is in the Big East, and she also has some NIL money that's going her way. She's one of the biggest players at Quinnipiac that's with the NIL. So being in the Big East, she's going to continue that money, and she's next year most likely is going to be the best player on that team as her second year. So overall, she's going to finish her career at Quinnipiac. You don't see a lot of players transfer out. Of course, there's a new coach now. Becca Main's gone, but she's still around making an impact. Nina Klein is going to make sure that her star player is going to be around as they're going to try and make a push to make the Big East tournament. That could happen in 2-3 years, but you need Katie Shanahan there, and she's going to make a huge impact in making sure Katie Shanahan is not leaving.
Agree with both of you. What I've been told when I was younger, defense wins championships, fellas. But now let's head to the soccer field. Men's soccer midfielder Francisco Ferreira had some clutch moments this past season. Now, despite scoring only 3 goals, 2 of them were game winners. Keith, you know the drill. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's saying he's going to finish his career here at Quinnipiac. He's a talented player. He sure is, and I think that's exactly why he's going. He's not going to make a move way too up, but I think he's just going to stay here at Quinnipiac.
We are 2 smart guys, Keith, and we're agreeing too darn much.
I'm right here, Keenan.
Yeah, right. You're just here to be a pretty face, right? But there is no shot Francisco Ferreira sticks around. DaCosta is really struggling at keeping guys here, right? This past year, they lost a ton of guys. They lost a ton of their scorers, their midfielders, and their defenders, and it hurt them. They only had 1 conference win all season. This guy, I don't think is going to stick around. Obviously, it seems like a great environment, as you're seeing on the screen. They're having fun. They're celebrating, but if he's got this skill level, he's good to play at a team that actually wins, and I don't really see this winning culture being turned around.
Right. And all right, we're going to take our second break of the night, but don't start scrolling on TikTok just yet. Next, we have men's and women's lacrosse, along with some baseball. We'll be right back.
Reporting from the South Quad.
Reporting from outside the ledges.
From the Arnold Bernard Library.
Reporting from North Haven parking lot.
Reporting in Hamden.
Reporting from Hamden.
Reporting in Meriden.
Reporting from Grassy Hill Farm.
Reporting from outside Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait.
What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. The women's lacrosse team ended a 4-game skid after a win over Ryder on Saturday. Not in the lineup was Mia Delman, who was 3rd on the team in goals with 16. Now, Keenan, do you think this team needs her scoring to win games?
You know, Ryan, it's a great question. You mentioned the 16 goals. There's one stat that matters the most, and it starts with a W. Win. And they haven't done that with her in the lineup in conference play. Yeah, 16 goals, that's great. That's awesome, but they need scoring off the bench. In their win earlier in non-conference play, they played Old Dominion. They had 4 goals coming off the bench in Lauren Kenny against Ryder. They had 5 goals coming off the bench from Ella Grace Delmond. I think the answer might not be Mia, but it's going to be a lot of production coming off the bench.
I'm going to compare it to another sport. Look at the NBA. Kate Cunningham missed some time with the Pistons, and the Pistons won a few games in a row. Yeah. That team still is not the greatest. This women's lacrosse team is not the greatest overall, but Mia Delman makes this team better. It's just no question how that's going to do. If they want to start winning a few more games, Mia Delman is going to be that factor. They don't have the same talented squad as last year. They're not going to make a run into the tournament like they did last season. I don't see them doing exactly that, but Mia Delman could be a factor, maybe winning a game. But if she's out there, if she's not out there, that is not happening.
Keith, they won a game without her.
Yeah,
they literally did it without her.
In the tournament, that is not happening at all. They can't do anything they want like last year if Mia Delman is not playing there. She's way too talented of a player.
Then how does this possibly happen?
What do you mean? How
do they win?
You know, sometimes you luck out. Look at the Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons, not that good of a team without Kate Cunningham, but they won a few games. That's exactly how the women's lacrosse team is.
They're not a great team with Kate Cunningham. This is not a Pistons debate.
That's how it is either way. This women's lacrosse team is a team you're going to be like, wow, they're going to the MAC, or even make the MAC champions. Probably not even the MAC semifinals. But they're going to be a team with Mia Delman who are going to be like, all right, we have to make some adjustments if we want to beat the squad.
I don't know. The proof is in the pudding.
That's a way to see.
I mean, I see both your points, but wins do matter, and lacrosse is a team sport. But anyway, let's switch locker rooms to the men's lacrosse team. They started the season on fire, winning 7 games in a row. However, since that streak ended, they are 1-2. Now, Keith, was this a fluke, or will this team will they remain on this consistent pace?
I don't think it was a fluke at all. I think the team is still very talented. I think they could win the MAC Conference. A team that was ranked for the first time in a long time. This team is really good. Both Ryan and Dylan Donnery and Steven Germain just making a massive impact. Of course, some teams start very hot, then once they get that first loss, the second losses that come long after. And that's just how it is, but I still think this team is really good. You don't want to mess around at all, and I think this is an elite squad in the MAC.
I completely agree with you. I don't think it was a fluke. Their 2 losses in MAC play were away in New York, but they have not lost here at home. They finish off with 2 games here at home and then a game against LIU. LIU is pretty good. I think they only have 1 loss in conference play. I think it's very possible for them to make a run. If they go perfect, I'm convinced that they're going to win the tournament.
Yeah.
This is not a team that gets talked about a lot on campus, and certainly not going into this season, but then all of a sudden they are undefeated. A loss is going to come, and I think it was good for him. You don't want to go through a perfect season then headed into tournament play, and you think that you're on top of this big old mountain that's not full of losses. They're going to have some L's, and that's how adversity is born, and that's how you win a MAC championship.
Yeah, I think I agree with that exactly. Overall, this team is going to the MAC. That's my prediction. That's what is going to happen, and they're probably going to play home every single one of those games. So overall, they're going to make a big impact in this season. Could be what changes the culture of this team that, again, hasn't had the most success before this year.
Hit me.
Wow.
Keith Savage at Keenan Mills.
Wow.
Quinnipiac men's lacrosse is winning the MAC.
I agree.
That's
They're going to win the MAC. That's going to do it right there.
That's
the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
It happened right in front of me, so it is
history.
Wow.
You want to be a part?
No.
Okay, it's already valid. They already said it here, folks. But we had a series sweep this weekend by the baseball team, beating Iona in 3 games, earning them their first MAC wins. Now, Keenan, which game of the series was most impactful?
I thought that in terms of the team play, I think the bullpen had some of the best impact out of the whole team. You know, you look at this game on Friday, Sam Favieri went nearly 6 innings, giving up only 1 earned run while striking out 6. That's a pretty good one. Then he said, Coach. The head coach of the baseball team, he said, I like to get weird. Skylar Manelski, have you ever played the show, Ryan?
I have. Of course I played the show.
You know what's the worst? When you have to play someone that has like a sidearm motion, you have no idea what's going on.
Darren O'Day action, I see.
Yeah. Skylar Manelski, the show, funky delivery, 3 innings pitch, only 1 hit, 6 strikeouts on Saturday.
Throwing them up and in sinkers is dangerous.
Yeah. So I'm going to go off that. The pitching, again, that's a key reason. And all 3 of those wins, it was 5 runs or below. This offense is shown to be somewhat consistent, but earlier today against Sacred Heart, they gave up 12 runs, and they end up losing that. This team can't really go in shootouts because every time this offense can score around 7 to 10 runs. That's what this team can kind of do. But they cannot go games in double digits. They're going to lose majority every single time. The pitching has been inconsistent for years. That's how it's always been. But overall, that's what is the key factor if they want to at least make some type of run in the MAC like they were supposed to.
I mean, guys, let me ask you this. Which, out of the 3 games, which made the most impact? The first game, the second game, or the third game?
I think, the third game, the sweep, of course. That's exactly going to be the biggest impact. That last game, getting a sweep, just that confidence going up for future MAC games. And maybe lost to Sacred Heart today, but still, that's going to have some more energy in this team that it was supposed to be really good in this conference, but started off really slow.
I think also that game on Friday is huge for morale, too. I mean, baseball is such a mental game. You get up to the plate and you're like, we are the worst team in this conference. We stink. What's the point of me even seeing these fastballs go by? And then if you get that first win, then that leads to that Saturday win. Then that leads to that Sunday win, and they're going off. Then now they're rolling.
Completely agreed. I'm going to have to disagree with you heavily on that one, Keith. Because what does it mean? You got a series sweep. You already won 2 games. So what is that going to do? You got to set the tone in that first game. Win the first game. It's going to put the other team on their heels.
I don't know if I agree with you either.
It's the first game that sets the tone. Once you win that first game, you have the advantage, and you're just like, all right, we're a team that's to be reckoned with. We're a team that is here to compete, and we're a team that we'll have to play a tough game against us.
The word sweep is so much bigger than the word
A
win.
sweep doesn't mean anything when it's you have
for your mind.
Yeah,
set the
confidence. It's
tone.
gonna make you more confident. It's exactly what I do having a
Guys,
sweep, saying, all right, we have some talent on this quad.
If you lose the first game, how much of it in a hole are you going to be?
I'm not denying that. I'm saying the third game is better for morale than that first game win.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, you can always push it to the next series, as that is huge.
Exactly.
But I still think.
Say they beat Shoe today, and then they rattled off like 12 wins. It started with that one sweep.
You're not going to change my mind. It's the first game is always the most important.
Whatever, Ryan.
That's how it is. Now it's time for our last break of the night. When we come back, we'll have our final roars. So one last time, stick around.
Hey, hashtag, welcome to my crib tour. You're just in time for our show tonight.
Hollywood News Update is clearly better than New York Minute.
No,
the debates, it's juicy, it's gossip, it's brand new.
All right, let's let them settle this. We'll go to the control room. What's up, guys?
Just getting ready for tonight's show, which, for those who don't know, hashtag that is an e-news style entertainment news show.
It's also a great way to get the latest and all celebrity drama.
That's it for our crib tour. To see more on hashtag that, tune in at Mondays at 7 p.m. at q30tv.com/watch.
I can't hear you, little girl. You're gonna have to speak up.
Well, if you keep yelling, you're not going to be able to hear anything at all.
Is this a part of the show?
Can we turn the heat up? It's like an ice box in here.
I'm gonna need you guys to turn it down a little bit. I'm clearly in the middle of a show here.
A show? I thought this was a eulogy.
For the last time of the night, welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. It's time for final roars, and I'm going to take the mound first. First off, I want to thank everyone in Q30 for allowing me the opportunity to be in front of the camera, whether it's hosting or being a Quinnipiac sports analyst. I came into college not really knowing what I wanted to do or where I wanted to take journalism. After a lot of trial and error with each media organization, I found that with Q30, I felt most at home. Although my time with Q30 has been fairly sporadic, I am grateful for every moment and every opportunity I've had, especially being a first-time tennis beat reporter. Yeah, this baseball player is covering tennis. Another quick point to mention is to branch out and try new things outside of your comfort zone because you never know what you may find or learn. Shout out to a Quinnipiac graduate, my brother Sean Raggio. He inspired me with that. Lastly, I wanted to give thanks to two people who never gave up on me, even when I was bouncing back between the Chronicle and Q30, and that's Quinnipiac graduates Nick Antoniadis and Ethan Logue. Keenan, Keith, it's been a pleasure to work with you both.
First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone in this room and everyone that made this journey possible. Behind this desk, I've laughed, sang, and made fun of a certain QBSN chairman's height. I have learned so much during my time at Q30 Sports. There are going to be days that coverage seems boring. Make it fun. Any aspect of life, there is a capability to make it entertaining. Make it fun. I came to school within a shell, scared to even walk in the media suite, let alone talk to anybody in here. Don't be. You learn a lot more trying weird stuff. I'm going to miss a ton from college, but nothing quite like the memories made inside of this room. To the youngsters, your time here goes by quicker than an Atlantic City day trip. You'll have time to sleep on floors, jump in pools, look at the sunrise, make memories. Make Beckett take a 3, give Pat more nicknames, listen to music with Boyd. This organization is going to a great place with the talent coming in and out of this room. For the seniors, I love each and every one of you. We made the most out of it, and I can't wait to see what all of us do with our careers. Thank you, Q30 Sports, for making me into the hardworking creative journalist that I am today.
Bobcat Breakdown was not a show I attended much of my first 2 years of college, but in the fall of 2022, I started to make more appearances, and it was mainly just to talk to people so I wouldn't fall asleep doing work in my room. But little did I know all of the friendships I would make from that decision. I ended up becoming the person who would teach first years how to use a teleprompter. I quickly learned that I mainly like attending shows for one, to teach people how to use something so simple as that, but I also love just making people feel comfortable at the show. A majority of people's first Q30 show they go on air is Bobcat Breakdown. They tend to be nervous, so I always wanted to make sure to put a smile on their face and lose some of the nerves. I made that a goal of mine for people to feel included and not be nervous to speak. One of my favorite things I saw was the growth of first years and watching them break out of the shells. In the last year, the organization has looked more like a family for everyone, and I see that continuing for years to come. Thank you, Bobcat Breakdown, and I'm excited to see what is next.